Hello guys, myself Namita from Information Science and Engineering Department studying at Sri Venkateswara College of Engineering. So the topic of today's video is powers and functions of President from the subject Constitution of India and Professional Ethics. Contents of this video are President of India, his executive powers, legislative powers, ordinance making power, financial, judicial, military, emergency powers, diplomatic powers, veto power of President of India and conclusion. Firstly, who is President of India? The President of India is the head of the state in India. He is the first citizen of India and serves as a symbol of the nation's unity, integrity, and solidarity. India's government is structured on a cabinet system. As a result, the Indian President is the constitutional head. All executive functions are theoretically vested in him. This is because there is a clear provision in the Constitution which mentions that there shall be a council of ministers to aid and advise the President. As the executive head of state, the President of India has a wide range of powers that he can use personally or through subordinate authorities in accordance with the Constitution. These powers and functions of President of India can be divided into the following categories. First, executive powers and functions of President of India. All executive functions are carried on in the name of the President and authenticated in the manner prescribed by rules to be made by the President. The President holds the power to appoint the Prime Minister on his advice and other ministers on the Union, the judges of Supreme Court, the governors of the state, the chairman and members of the Public Service Commission, the members of the Finance Commission and official commissions, Special Officer for Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes, Commission to report on the administration of scheduled areas, Commission to investigate into the conditions of backward classes, Special Officer to linguistic minorities. Second, legislative powers and functions of President of India. The President of India is an integral part of the Parliament. He holds the power to summon the Houses of Parliament. He can also prorogue the Houses, address them and even dissolve the Lok Sabha. He ceremonially addresses the first session of both the Houses post general elections to the Lok Sabha. According to Article 86B, in case of serious disagreement with the Council of Ministers, he can even pass messages to either or both the houses. The President also nominates 12 members to the upper chamber, that is Rajya Sabha, who has excelled in art, literature, science and medicine or other fields. Ordinance making power of President. The President has the ability to issue an ordinance when one or both houses of parliament are not in session. Furthermore, the ordinance he issued has the same legal effect as a parliamentary act. This power has been vested so as to enable the President to deal with serious circumstances that arise while the houses are not in the session. The President also has the authority to revoke the ordinance at any time. The ordinance must also be approved by the Parliament within 6 weeks of the Parliament's return of session. Financial powers and functions of President of India. India's President also has financial authority. Without the President's approval, no money bill or financial bill can be submitted in Parliament. He or she is required by the Indian Constitution to present the annual financial statement, that is budget, to both the houses of the Parliament. The central government's revenue and expenditure estimates for the upcoming year are shown in this statement. It should be noted that without the President's assent, no proposal for spending money, that is expenditure, or producing revenue, that is taxation, for government objectives can be tabled in the Parliament. Judicial powers of President. The President is vested with judicial powers. This enables him or her to gather the advice of the judiciary on a query related to law or fact which is of public importance while giving assent to the bill. This advice is, however, not binding on President. Likewise, the judiciary is bounded to offer advice only on the matters of pre-constitutional agreements and treaties. Military powers of President of India. As the head of a state, the President is the supreme commander of the Indian Armed Forces. He is entitled to declare war or conclude a peace treaty on the recommendation or advice of the Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister. However, the exercise of this power is regulated by the rule of law. Many important contracts and treaties are moreover signed in his name. He also appoints the chiefs of the service branches of the army. Emergency powers. The president is vested with vast emergency powers. He or she can impose three kinds of emergency powers, namely emergency on account of war, external aggression or armed rebellion, emergency due to failure of constitutional machinery in the state, financial emergency. Diplomatic powers and functions of President of India. The President represents India in international forums where his presence is ceremonial. He also sends and receives diplomats or ambassadors, that is, Indian Foreign Service IFS officers. Moreover, all international agreements and treaties are negotiated and concluded in the name of the President, though they are carried out by the Prime Minister and his cabinet with the sanction of the Parliament. Veto power of President of India. After a bill is passed by the Parliament, the President is required to approve it. As per Article 111 of the Constitution of India, when a bill comes before the President, he can either accept or withhold or resent it to reconsideration. This very control of President over the bill is referred as veto power. There are mainly three kinds of vetoes, namely absolute veto, suspensive veto, pocket veto. Absolute veto, which allows the president to withhold his or her assent to the bill. This causes the bill to not become an act. Suspensive veto, which allows the president to return the bill to the parliament for reconsideration. Pocket veto, which literally means to pocket a bill for endless time, enabling the president to not act upon the bill. Conclusion. The President of India is known as the executive head. However, he is just a symbolic head who is sometimes referred to as a rubber stamp. Even though the President has numerous powers, many of them are ineffective. This is because all his powers are subject to the will and whims of the Council of Ministers. Furthermore, the President is not involved in the day-to-day operations of the state, and the true executive authority is placed in the Council of Ministers, which is led by the Prime Minister. As a result, the Prime Minister is the true head of a state, whereas the President is merely in name. Thank you.